Hey, welcome to the Hot Slice. I am your host, Denise Greer, and with me today is Editor-in-Chief Jeremy White. Hey, Jeremy, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, it's freezing cold outside, and bad stuff's happening as far as weather all over the country. So yeah, it's fun.
Fun times. We are sitting on top of lots of snow and ice ourselves here in the Kentuckiana area, which for those not familiar with that term, Kentucky and Indiana.
Exactly. Near Louisville. There is Kentucky and it's in Kentuckiana and other parts of Indiana and Kentucky as well.
Yes, true.
But enough about our let's talk pizza. So who do we have on the show today, Jeremy?
Well, our guest is also dealing with snow because he's in Connecticut, Avon, Connecticut, a town, as we learn in speaking with him, a town of about 18,000 people. Michael Androw of E&D Pizza Company.
Absolutely.
Michael is a big supporter of Pizza Expo and Pizza Today. He's always seen walking about the show floor, very happy-go-lucky, personable, sociable guy. It's always fun to talk to, always a good time to hang out with, very knowledgeable. He's been in the pizza business for 3 decades and has kind of seen it all and done it all. And he's got a pretty cool story about how his business has managed to thrive during this pandemic, but he took some pretty drastic measures in order to do so.
Lasting drastic measures too. I mean, these are going to go well beyond the pandemic. So it involved contractors and
I think he said to us, if I'm not mistaken, that it was a big trigger to pull, and it sure was.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we probably need to just jump right into it because it's such a good conversation. And you know what? I think a lot of people are probably thinking this very thing. What changes have I made? What changes will I make? And how is it all going to evolve after COVID? I think that's what's on everybody's minds right now.
Yes, this conversation will apply to a lot of people, no doubt.
All right, let's just jump right in.
All right, let's get Michael on. Michael, just to start off, I'm curious what year you opened your pizzeria. How long have you been in business now?
We opened E&D Pizza Company in 2014, so we're now into our 8th year at this location.
Okay. Where did the name E&D come from?
It's my sons, Enzo and Dario.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And I want to get right to some really good stuff here. You made some fairly drastic changes to your business as a result of the COVID pandemic. You didn't play around. Like, you made massive overhaul changes.
Yeah. It's the old adapt or die. Once COVID hit, all the rules changed. It was a whole new ball game. Prior to that, we had a very successful operation.
Mm-hmm.
Being in a suburb where we are, we're very family oriented. I mean, every one of our customers is 2.5 kids, white picket fence, golden retriever. It's just family city. So we know our market, and we did very well with it. Probably 80% takeout to 20% dining in. We had about a 45-seat dining room, which we would fill up, and we'd have a wait for it on the weekends. It was good. Everything was going along just fine. And then something had to go awry with a bat in China. And next thing we know, everything's getting shut down. So it was a learning experience at first. None of us knew how long this was going to be. Would it be a few weeks, a month, 2 months, maybe at the most? I mean, I remember back last year, they were saying this could go into the summertime. We went, oh, no, the summer? I can't believe it. I mean, here we are a year later, still in the same spot.
Still in the exact same spot, right?
Yeah, weeks. We'll get back to you on that. So, in the beginning, we just dealt with it, figured it wasn't going to be a long-term thing, kind of, got rid of all the indoor dining, pushed all our tables and booths to the sides of the room, opened everything up, and I think at that time, obviously, people's dining habits were forced to change. Mm-hmm. And as a result, we started seeing more takeout, more than our usual customer base. We started seeing new people, which was surprising. But the more I thought about it, I said, well, people have their dining habits, especially with families. It kind of limits you. but you have your places you go to. But now when you don't have that dining out available to you anymore, you have to come up with new ideas. So people were trying new places. So we saw a sudden influx of business on top of it. And, you know, fortunately, people were pleased and we were keeping it. So everything was rolling along good there. And, you know, we were already at a point before this where our kitchen on most nights was almost at or near capacity of what it could output. And so this was really turning things upside down. Now, all of a sudden, Monday nights were the same volume as Friday nights. And, you know, I wasn't knocking it. I was happy that we were, you know, the type of concept that could remain open through all this and not get shut down, which, you know, unfortunately, a lot of people in our industry did see. So we were lucky in that regard. But after a few weeks started going by, then a few months, you know, every morning I'm coming in and I'm walking by these tables and booths pushed against the wall. I'm saying, this is just so stupid. This has got to stop. And the next day goes by and the next week goes by and it's not stopping. Finally, I got to the point where I said, you know what? The kitchen's getting crushed all the time. I started thinking about maybe if I just get rid of these booths and tables altogether, take my takeout counter, my big takeout counter, and bring it forward 30 feet, open up a little more room for the kitchen in the back to breathe a little more, and then do just takeout. I said, "No, that's crazy. That's crazy. I can't do that. I can't do that. 30 years in this business, what kind of restaurant doesn't have seating in it? It's a joke. I can't do that." A little more time went by, and I started thinking about this more and more, and, you know, just losing sleep over it, saying, you know, that's a big trigger to pull. And then one day I said, you know what? I'm going for it. I'm going for it. I called the contractor. I told him. He said, "What are you going to do? Are you nuts?" I said, "Look, just get out here and do it before I change my mind." So we did it. Got rid of everything, did a complete remodel of the whole front, turned it into a, you know, good sized waiting area, but moved that counter up. Now everyone's got more room in the back. You know, we're at a point now where in my state, Connecticut, the numbers are dropping pretty rapidly with COVID. And we're over the past few weeks, we started to get a lot of loosening of some of the restrictions. And so, you know, now is a time when I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Let's hope, you know, but everything's staying steady. So this ended up increasing business for us. We've kept that increase in business even as dining is now reopened again. It created an additional customer for us that we hadn't seen before. But just going to this strictly delivery and carry out model with no dining in is very hard to swallow. To this day, it's still not working for me in my head. But bottom line, the numbers are significantly higher.
Wow.
You know, I mean, we were, you know, and I'm not exaggerating when I'm telling you, you know, our Monday nights are what our Friday nights are like. You know, our kitchen is at capacity at all times now, and we're doing it without dining in. I don't know how long people's dining habits are going to be like this. I think a lot of people's habits are going to be changed for good after this, at least for this generation. And we'll see. You know, we could always change back down the road if we needed to. But for right now, you know, the numbers don't just, you know, they just don't lie. And I still have a tough time dealing with the fact that I have a restaurant with no seating, but it works. It works. We crank along. And, you know, the customers love it. It's in and out. You know, our market lends well to it being so many families. You know, if we had foot traffic in a city or a metropolitan area, I don't think we'd be able to pull it off the way we do now. But, you know, when people are dining out so much and their options have been limited, and now we've gained even more customers that have learned of us because of it, you know, taking something that was good and made it great. I kind of feel like a war profiteer that, you know, COVID was brought about. But it is what it is. And, you know, so it was a hard trigger to pull, like I said, but in hindsight, doing it was the right choice. So,
well,
you know, it's pretty amazing because most people, when they open a restaurant, they have an idea of what they want the kitchen layout to be like. But then you get in 4, 5, 6, 7 years down the road like you, and you get your volume to a certain level. You always look back and say, wow, I wish I had more space, or I wish I had put the oven over here. I wish I would have configured this a little bit differently. And you actually had the opportunity to make those changes and make the kitchen, like you said, a little more breathing room, but give yourself kind of the kitchen that 6, 7 years ago you didn't know you needed.
True. And then once this all came about, you know, we realized that, you know, we need more space and we need it now. And, you know, what do you build a second floor in the kitchen? I mean, your options are limited. So we had to come up with something. And this, you know, the pieces all kind of fit together right, and it worked out well. You know,
and I know
drastic a change it was. It's all right.
Yeah, and being a little nervous about going to a Delco model, that's reasonable. But luckily, the Delco model, I mean, it's proven success for decades and
Yeah,
decades. It's just it's a proven model. It has lower, usually lower labor costs, and you can pump out high efficiencies out of it. So the Delco model is a really good model.
it is. It is. It's just hard to swallow. Like I said, 30 years of always having tables and chairs and booths, all of a sudden one day flipping that whole script upside down, that's tough. That's tough.
Yeah.
But the point you make is very well taken, because the associated costs with it are outrageous when you start thinking about it, between your cost of labor, matching FICA and withholding, the insurance, the liquor license, the liability insurance. It adds up. It adds up, and you start saying to yourself, I'm not trying to be lazy and get rid of the hassle involved with it, but I take that hassle off my plate. I get rid of all the expense. Sales go up. I'm running a higher margin on, I get a better margin on takeout than I do dining in. Yeah, yeah, the Delco model works.
Yeah, it absolutely does.
Performance Food Service is proud to deliver high-quality products, innovative technology, and custom operational solutions to restaurants of all sizes across the country. The flagship division of Performance Food Group, with deep roots in the restaurant industry, Performance Food Service has been the exclusive distributor of the Roma family of brands for more than 65 years. This signature relationship has allowed Performance Food Service to become a leader in the pizza and Italian segment of food service nationwide. If you're looking for a POS provider that truly understands pizzerias, look no further than PDQ. Designed from the ground up for the exact needs of pizzerias, PDQ POS has been doing pizza ordering, delivery, and takeout for over 32 years. With all the functionality you need in today's environment, including online ordering, rewards, seamless integration, contactless functionality, and so much more, PDQ is your single source for, well, everything. Learn more today at pdqpos.com or call 877-968-6430. That's 877-968-6430.
Now, how do you translate like the hospitality aspect? Because, you're kind of known for, your customer service and things. So how did you take that from being inside to carry out and delivery?
Well, to start with, I already had, a very good staff that worked up front on the counter. And then once this got turned upside down, I had my servers that were now saying, what about us and our jobs? And I said, okay, here's the deal. We're going to up everyone's pay, and now you're going to join the counter staff, and you're going to help show these guys on the counter staff the same style of training and interaction you have with customers at tables. You're now going to help kind of influence them on how they work with the customer coming in. So it's funny, just before I got on, I had a glowing message from a customer about the service he got just from a counter person today, and how wonderful it was. And it's nice to hear that kind of thing. But like we said, we took those people and kind of had them train the others, and so everyone's kind of on the same page now, and it works well.
Do you miss
server mentality?
Yeah. I was gonna say, you're a personable guy, you're a social guy. Do you miss that interaction, that the table touch, where you can walk around and just talk to your customers, and you have a lot of loyal regular customers that you get to know very well over the years. It's just not the same when they're only there to pick up food for 2 to 3 minutes versus sitting with you for 60 minutes and you get to actually talk to them in depth.
And that is difficult, because that is a thing that I really was very involved with doing all the time. And it's difficult now. In the past, once the hit was done, I would jump off the line and I would hit the floor, and I would stop at every table and visit and just chit chat with people. I've always felt that goes a long way, and I enjoy doing it. Now it's difficult. What am I going to do? I come out of the kitchen and, who's next in line? Hey, good to see you. I still do it. It doesn't have the same feel and the same impact, but that's, I can get over it.
Yeah, when the bottom line looks that much better, it's a little easier to follow that.
That'll cure a lot of ills.
Mm-hmm.
I still try to get out there and do the same thing, but it's not the same. Being able to sit with someone and just visit for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and do that. I enjoyed that personally, and I miss that.
Now, how does that change up your personal energy with your business, where you're able to focus your energies now that you don't have a specific dine-in front of house? Where are you able to focus those energies now?
My staff doesn't like it, but it keeps me in the back more. They used to know,
Yeah.
they used to know that once the hit was done, I was gone. They got rid of me. Now I'm back there saying, okay, what are we jumping on for prep right away? Who's cleaning that? Let's get moving. The easy breezy days are over. So, but they still try to get rid of me.
I like that.
So what are you going to do if and when, and I think it's a when, things do
When?
normalize again and we are welcoming people back into our restaurants for dine-in and people are going out again and sitting at tables and eating in public? What's your plan there? Have you thought that far ahead?
The answer I tell everyone is, well, we'll wait and see. We can always change things back. But in reality, I mean, our numbers have gone up 40% as a result of this.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I give 10% of that back when this is all done,
right,
we're still staying DELCO.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to reinvest to have a contractor come in again and tear out what they just did to put it back the old way, to incur all those expenses and then bring my margins and sales back down. I'm like, no.
That's what I was getting at. I would assume that once you make that leap, you're there to stay.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough telling customers that, so I still kind of try to dance around it a little bit. We'll see. We'll play it day by day. We'll see. But I know what the end result's going to be. We're staying this way.
Yeah.
And the one thing we are missing right now, and will be missing until offices and baseball teams and things are able to do what they normally do, is that off-premise large volume sales. So I mean, that's not even in the mix right now, correct?
And that's a big thing for us too. I mean, that's kind of how we established ourselves within the community and kind of became just a regional brand, was by doing that kind of stuff. Now, some of the schools are starting to reopen. There's a lot of private boarding schools in our area too that have students, bubbled on campus. So all that business is back. But that's a big part for us too. So, even the public schools, with all the events they do, we're very involved with all the sports and all the different athletic teams. So we're looking forward to getting all that back soon.
Absolutely. What is what's going on in Connecticut? You had mentioned that the COVID numbers at the moment seem to be improving. What's the feeling like as far as the restaurant industry goes? Is your labor pool strong? Are you able to find well-qualified employees? Are you having difficulty with that?
The labor pool is getting better. When this first started with the whole nonsense with the unemployment and then the unemployment bonus, it created a real problem. Even when you were able to bring people back, people weren't coming back. That has started to change a lot. So that's loosening up a lot. The COVID numbers are just plummeting in our state day by day, thankfully. Hopefully that continues. And we have a very aggressive restaurant association in our state that works very well with the governor's office. And they've been really instrumental in helping move things along. Just today, they changed the limitations for large events. It used to be 25 people. Now it's up to 100 people inside or 200 people outside.
Oh, wow.
So that's coming back now. So that's a step in the right direction. A couple of weeks ago, restaurants went from 25% capacity back up to 50% capacity. And there was a 10:30 p.m. curfew on restaurants. That's now been lifted and moved up to 11:30. So, you can get that last one more turn of tables in. So we're really starting to turn the corner in the right direction. Hopefully it stays that way. But it's encouraging right now, certainly.
Yeah. Have you changed your menu to accommodate your new structure?
I didn't. At first, that was one of the things I was strongly considering doing. I thought I was going to have to. But fortunately, the way things worked out, we were able to adapt. We made these changes, opening up more room in the kitchen, really made it easier for us to keep the menu as is and not have to cut it down. So that, it kind of got lucky in that regard, but it worked out okay.
Good.
That's awesome. Something I'm interested in, because I know that you started out in the restaurant business, like you've worked every facet of restaurants from just the startup, which I understand. I've worked in restaurants, but you've kind of went all the way up. So how, what are those lessons that you've learned kind of coming up through those that you've applied to your business? What's like one or two of those big things?
I'm glad you asked that, because I love talking about that. I think it's something really unique that I've been able to kind of stumble into as a result. I started in pizza. I then went through every facet of this business, from casual dining to fine dining to bars and nightclubs, everything, you name it, I've done it. But eventually I came back to pizza. And the lessons I've learned along the way, there's something you can take from everything. Just because we have a family pizza operation now, it doesn't mean there wasn't things in a bar or a nightclub that I couldn't take from or from fine dining. I tell people all the time, just because it's pizza doesn't mean it has to be cheap. You can have a fine dining type of experience. Now, I don't mean you're going to have white tablecloths and gold flatware, but you can still have that same level of service. It doesn't have to be the diner waitress throwing the plate on the table. You can still train your staff the same way we trained in fine dining to bring those same principles into a casual atmosphere. And I love that, because it really helps separate us from other people. And even me personally, my approach with customers, the way I communicate with customers, it really has evolved over the years because of my interactions with different places. When you work in a bar and a nightclub, you don't have to go out and make table visits. When you work in fine dining, you're making table visits every turn of that dining room. So it just becomes second nature. And it's something I learned to love to do. You go to a pizza restaurant in town, 99% of the people don't do that. And the waitresses, when they would see that, what are you doing? What are you doing? Nothing's wrong. It's okay. I know nothing's wrong. I want to go over and see tables 1 through 6, But, without that background, I don't think it would have allowed me a certain comfort level to be able to do that or want to do it or understand the value in doing it. And that's really, important to me.
Yeah, gotcha.
Where do you find the passion now, if that was part of what fueled you and made it enjoyable, made it fun, and now that's gone? What gets you motivated and pumped up when you go in every day?
You don't settle for mediocrity.
No.
You don't settle for mediocrity. This concept we started as a startup, and startups suck. There are, I remember back in the beginning days, I literally worked 100 hours a week. I didn't see my children because I left before they got up, and I came home when they were already in bed.
Yeah.
So, knowing what you had to do to get there reminds you, I remember picking up the phone, just make sure it still works. Yeah, okay, it works. Hopefully it's going to ring. Those days, that what it takes to build a business and get to a certain point, you never forget how that crushes your soul, and you never want to be there again. So you don't take for granted what you have. You can't just say, okay, I'm going to nap my way through this class, and show up for the exam. It doesn't work like that. You need to maintain that every day, and it's important that, as things are starting to open up, we're back doing our community things. We're back involved with the schools. Our face, our name, my face of the business is out there. People know who I am. Everyone in the community knows who I am. You have something you need to do, I'm doing it. It keeps me active and involved. But that's important, because otherwise, you can become a has-been real quick in this business if you don't keep your foot on the accelerator.
Yeah, there are a lot of them out there. We see them all the time.
Oh yeah, we do. One of the things that that I've always been complimentary to you on is the fact that you gain all these accolades. You're really good at getting accolades for your pizzeria, for your pizza, and you have a really good sense of how to use those and how to capitalize on those. Do you think that actually helped you gain this new clientele once you switched to DELCO?
It's hard to pinpoint exactly where that comes from, but that certainly does help. There's no doubt about that. We've been very fortunate that, a lot of local and state magazines and whatnot and different outlets, have their pizza rankings, and, Connecticut's tough. Everyone knows the big names in Connecticut. But, when we're ranked ahead of those people, I don't think if you put a pizza list out there and said, okay, E&T Pizza Company is the best pizza in the state, that doesn't have the same ring to it until you look and see what the number 2 and 3 were. And you say, whoa, wait a minute. People in Japan know those places.
Mm-hmm.
You're better than that in someone's opinion. Well, we got to try that. So that's been very helpful to us. I'm careful. I don't want to poke the bee's nest too much with some of those big players, but I do take the opportunity once in a while via social media when those things come out to use it to our advantage. Say, hey, in our small town, we're doing some big things. It's a touchy subject sometimes. You got to be careful. You want to maintain good relationships with everyone in the industry, but use it to our advantage.
Yeah. Now, how big is Avon?
Avon's 18,100 people.
All right. Oh, that is small. I didn't know it was that small.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was that small.
With 18,100 people, it doesn't take a lot of them to have a successful business.
Right.
You don't need 20% of those people coming into your business to be successful.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, Denise, I think we'll let Michael go get about his day now, but do you have any last questions before we let him go?
Probably my last question is, you talk to a lot of operators out there. What's the general sense you guys are kind of getting about how we can look forward in 2021 and 2022 as the industry moves forward? What kinds of things are you seeing?
Sun's on the horizon. It's coming up.
Yeah.
We've dealt with a long winter, even though we're physically in it right now here.
Really in it right now.
But, we're coming out of this. We're coming out of this. We made it. Most of us had to adapt in one form or another, but we all learned from it. We did it. We're better for it now than we were before this. It's the world's coming back. We're going to be going to ball games before we know it. Expo is going to be back before we know it. We're all going to be hanging out and having pizzas and beers before we know it. So
that's right. International Pizza Expo. June
I gotta say,
through 24, Las Vegas, Nevada.
I know. I can't wait to see you there. It's going to be awesome. I got to point out that you guys are both boy dads, by the way.
We are.
Boy dads, two boy dads. So that's awesome.
We're the cool ones.
That's absolutely right.
Nice.
Michael, thanks for your time today, man. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. A real pleasure.
You have a good day.
All right.
All right, take care.
Bye.
See you. Bye-bye.